Hi, folks. This is David S. He, him pronouns, and this is session number 10 of Hearts of Wulin, Odyssey of Jade and Stars. This is a quarterly of Hearts of Wulin being run on the Gauntlet calendar. If you're interested in playing in games such as this one, you can go to gauntlet-rpg.com and also check out more about the Wuxia role-playing game Hearts of Wulin. We have got everyone together for this session, and things are really heating up. We are on the third to final session of the quarterly. So let's do a very quick round of character and player introductions before setting the scene. I will go in character keeper order, beginning with Greg.
Hi, my name is Greg, pronouns he, him, and I am playing Yelang, also known as Night Wolf, who used to be the respected Right Lieutenant of Blackwood Palace, a orthodox sect of martial cultivators, but after an encounter in hell with some very powerful demons, he was left dying and was revived by the shadowy master of the unseen hand. And now I appear only in black armor, my face masked, and my intentions still hidden.
Awesome. I think next in the character keeper is Jose.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jose, and my pronouns are he, him. I'm playing Zhou Jiang, also pronouns he, him. Zhou Jiang is cursed, and bad things happened around him to everyone who he loves, bad things of a supernatural nature. The latest bad thing that's happened to someone he loves is his fox demon lover has been trapped in an opera mask, which Jiang is carrying around reverently and desperately trying to get him out of because he's feeling lonely.
Yeah. Let's go to Max next.
Hi, my name is Max. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm playing Cloud Crow, who also uses they, them pronouns. And let's see, I am a student who has left the Heaven and Earth Temple, and I am trying to save the world. And let's see, I have a lot of relationships with crows, and my turns out one of my parents is a crow currently, but also an ancient goddess who stole the elixir of immortality, and that has caused the earth to start to die, and the boundaries between the worlds that have kept things harmonious are dying, and she now wants to repair this damage, and Cloud Crow is being enlisted to help her. Cloud Crow also has a relationship with Zhou Jiang, and is perhaps going to try to help Zhou Jiang with his problem about his lover being stuck in the mask. That's it.
Yeah, the addition of the Crow NPC was done kind of in between sessions last time, and it's a pretty important detail, so very cool. And last but not least, Maria.
Hello, I'm Maria. I use she, her pronouns. I am playing Qiufeng, who uses the he pronouns, and they are a member of the Unseen Hand, that previously named unknown organization / mysterious master. I am a reborn villain who was a murderer / assassin in the past life and has been brought back to life after having been killed on a mission. But I came along with my very forceful grandmother who has opinions about what I'm doing, and also who I'm in love with, which includes being in love with Zhou Jiang. But unfortunately, my grandmother does not approve of this. It's fine. And also, I am seeking revenge against Liang and Qing, which puts me at in a rivalry with my sect mate, Yelang.
Awesome. And I think that basically gets us started. So we will begin, I think, hitting the ground running here. Cloud Crow, we open with you. Is there a scene you would like to call, an NPC you'd like to meet with, a PC you would like to meet with, or would you prefer to have something hard framed in? I know from last time that Zhou Jiang is looking for you because Jiang, I think you met with Miao Renxing, and he suggested that you find Cloud Crow so that an exorcism can be performed on the mask that has Song Tian trapped within it. So we can always do that if nothing else. But what are you thinking?
Well, I think that I might like to do a study move that will allow me to understand more about what my next steps are with regard to the elixir, with regard to how to protect our mission from characters who might try to undermine it. And yeah, I feel like that's an important component. And then I think we can move into whatever's going to happen with Zhou Jiang and Song Qian.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And you got into quite a bit of kind of solitary adventure in between the last session and this one. So I think a study move can definitely have played out during the course of that. So let's get a roll there. Which element would you like to go with?
Let's see. I think I'm going to roll with water. Yeah, I'm going to roll with water. And wait, where's the roll tab again? There it is. Dice. Modifier 2. Oh, 6.
Do you? Oh my gosh, I don't think you have a single bond.
No.
Those are in short supply these days. So I think we just have to keep that at a miss.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what were you hoping to find out as a result of that study move?
Well, supposedly my destiny is to make sure this elixir doesn't get possessed by anyone without, I guess, possessing it myself. And therefore how to make sure that the realms are healed, the earth is healed, and also how to protect this mission from evil.
Okay. Now, where are you when you're doing this study move? Are you in like the depths of an abandoned temple trying to find some prophecy or some maybe gates between worlds? Or I mean, how are we setting the scene here before we find out how it all goes wrong?
I am picturing myself in this cave that is up on the cliffside that the crows have guided me to. That the cave is beautiful. It's hidden, and when you're inside, you realize there's something just so alive about the cave. And I think it's that it's the place of protection for the elixir. And so, the water is very fresh and clear. There's a pool. There's multiple pools in the cave, and so I think that I'm actually gazing into the water of one of the pools. Asking this question.
Yes. And so I think the way the study move goes terribly wrong is as you're gazing into this pool of water, there is going to be a sudden disturbance along the glassy, smooth sheen of this reflecting pool as a charcoal black dead hand suddenly emerges from the water and grips you by the but the robe or whatever you're wearing exactly. And then I think you hear the kind of slimy slapping of limbs along the walls of the cave as you realize that at this point you're surrounded by all manner of ghostly, horrible creatures from perhaps the spirit realm, and a face, I think dark and decomposed, will emerge from the pool, and it will whisper to you in this hoarse, croaking sort of voice saying, "You should not have come here, Cloud Crow. The boundaries between worlds are already completely ruptured. You are too late. There is nothing you can do." And it starts to laugh and gurgle as this old lake water burbles up in its throat. So I think the miss is that there is nothing to be done to prevent the breakdown between worlds. We are past the point of no return there, and there is going to be a very big problem with that probably in the sessions to come. And you also have a series of ghosts that are looking to kill you. And I think that's enough to justify having you mark that element.
Okay. Do I have to mark the element I just rolled with? Or
Did you roll with water?
yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yes, because I think that's one of your. Well, you have several +2s, but yes, mark water. And we will come back to you in a moment. I want to go next to. I'm thinking maybe Qiufeng. Is there an NPC you would like to interact with, PC, scene you'd like to call, or do you want something more hard framed?
Hard frame me.
Okay.
Unless, yeah, throw something at me.
So you were last seen, as I recall, in the vicinity of Blackwood Palace. I think you might have been, I'm trying to remember, you were doing a bit of kind of like creeping, if you don't mind my using the word,
Yeah,
on
creeping is correct.
Zhou Jiang. Where did you head after that time? I don't know that you were staying in Blackwood Palace, but I think you justifiably could have been. So where do you want to be during maybe a meeting where the unseen hand reveals themselves to you?
I think that I could be. Are there other locations that have been named in the series, or places I could be heading to?
Yeah, there are a few that come to mind, and folks, let me know if there are any that I'm missing. There is a fishing village, kind of lakeside, which is where the whole series started off. It's a small town called Ardent Maple, and it has a very large lake near it, lots of rowing boats and canoes and fishing boats that go out. It has a inn with a kind of very famous ripened pu'er tea, freshwater shrimp, hot wine kind of atmosphere about it. It's a beautiful pastoral sort of place. There is a tavern kind of off on the outskirts of that town between Ardent Maple and Blackwood Palace, where Blackwood Palace guards frequently drink at the end of their shifts. There is the Heaven and Earth Temple, which Cloud Crow used to attend. I'm sure there are more places I'm forgetting, but those are what stand out to me.
I think I am heading to the Heaven and Earth Temple to have a word with the monks about my grandmother.
Okay, this is a good opportunity to maybe also bring Elder Woodheart into play. I'll let you decide. Do you think it would be more interesting to have the unseen hand intercept you on the road, or should we have you actually meeting with Elder Woodheart to discuss the matter of your grandmother's spirit?
I don't have an idea which one's more interesting. I think they're both cool. Do you have a preference?
Let's say that we're gonna have a meeting with the unseen hand here.
All right. Yeah.
Are you traveling in the middle of the day, in evening? I'm just trying to get the scene set here.
I think it is the middle of the day. I think that I have watched over Zhou Jiang for his own safety in Blackwood Palace throughout the night, and then left during the day, because I think that's when the monks would maybe be more receptive to being talked to.
Okay. So in that case, as you are traveling down the path, it is a hot summer's day. I think you have this sort of humidity in the air. The forests on either side of you are almost impenetrable, just absolutely lush with greenery and with thick vegetation. You have the constant hum of insects in the air. And I think as you get closer to evening, you might even begin to hear cicadas and other such insects begin to come out. But it's a fairly hot day. And so it's really unusual to see coming down the road on horseback a figure in an unusually heavy set of robes, obscuring their face, obscuring actually every part of their body. It's almost like just this amorphous blob of fabric on horseback, clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, coming down the road toward you.
I jump into the trees.
I think it will kind of slow to a halt on the road, and it will not even kind of look at you, but you just kind of hear this voice emerge from this mass of robes, this thick, croaking, strange dialect that you have never heard replicated anywhere else in all the various places of China you've been. You just hear the voice utter, "Qiufeng, come out. It is time we speak, you and I." And you recognize it as the voice of your master, who, if I recall correctly, you've never seen before?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen them before. I think I like kind of slowly, like I'm imagining myself letting myself slowly off the tree, almost languidly, like, oh, fine. And kind of like sweep a bow. It's so hot though. Must we meet out here? Surely it's not comfortable for your esteemed personage.
I know of a grove not far from here. Walk with me. And without giving you an opportunity to say otherwise, the horse turns and begins marching off down a side path, which puts you in considerably more shade. And I think what'll happen is you kind of get into this sort of secluded grove. The vegetation is so thick above you that it really blocks out quite a lot of the sunlight, and you're in this sort of perpetual state of shadow. And the unseen hand, as they are called, is going to ask you how goes the mission to defeat and assassinate Miao Renqing.
Times two. It proceeds well, I think. It would be much easier if perhaps we didn't have competing members of our sect.
You mean Yelang?
I'm sure Yelang means well and is an adequate hand at combat, but we kind of get in each other's way. Not that I'm making excuses for the slowness of the mission. But surely you could assign us to different things, or give us, well, never mind. I don't think there's the or give us that's said.
Yelang is weak. It is only because of my own intervention that he did not find himself trapped permanently within the many realms of hell. If he is such a burden to the mission, then it is up to you, Qiufeng. It falls on you to show him how a proper assassination is to be conducted. You must establish dominance over Yelang. Show him who is really in charge. Do not tarry or allow him to complicate your mission any further.
All right. That sounds easy enough. Is that all you came here to tell me or ask me about?
Would you like to maybe make a study move here to see if there's anything
Sure.
that he is not
Hiding.
exactly being honest about?
Yeah, I will study with, what are my elements again? Let's see. I'll use earth, which is a +0. That's a 10.
Brilliant. So you get a couple hold if you want to ask any questions or declare any details.
Yeah, what is the Unseen Hand's particular motivation for coming up in this terrible hot day?
Well, I think he already knew that
Mhm.
you guys weren't getting along. And you get the sense that when he says it falls on you to really whip this person into shape and to establish some dominance, you really get the sense that he's just trying to get the two of you to basically fight and to establish which of you is really in charge. He doesn't care if it's you necessarily,
I see.
but he doesn't want the ongoing back and forth tit for tat to interfere with the mission. He wants one of you to emerge the victor, even if that means the other is, well, out of the game, if you will.
Mhm. And I guess my second question is a follow-up question to that, I guess. What what can I do to win the Unseen Hand's favor?
Other than defeating Miao
than-
Rensheng, yes.
Right. How do I ingratiate myself with this hand?
I think there is maybe a sort of short flashback that we see on screen to a prior meeting between you and him, or them, or she. It's really impossible to say. Between you and the Unseen Hand, where they have made reference to an elixir of note that has really made a splash across the realms. They have an interest in it. Whether it is for their own purposes, they wish to ingest it themselves, or whether they just want to keep it out of the hands of a competitor, you cannot be sure. But you know that this is something that the Unseen Hand has had its eye on for the last several months.
Wonderful. Yeah, I don't know how Qiufeng brings it up in dialogue, but I feel like something to the extent of like referencing said elixir and making some sort of vague promise or hint that they would fetch that.
I think that you can almost feel the Unseen Hand smiling beneath their hood. Their face is utterly obscured, but you can sense the smile as you make this vow of sorts to them. And I think in return, the unseen hand will reach beneath their robes and withdraw a folded bit of paper and extend to you. Extend it to you. It is held in a gnarled, wrinkled, sort of pale gray hand, each fingernail long and black. They provide you with this piece of paper and tell you, this document indicates your status as a diplomat from a foreign region. You might use it well to enter places that you would otherwise find inaccessible.
As though I would have need of such a thing, but thank you anyway. I will take it and like slip it into my robes,
I
but
always
like
knew
treat
I
it like
could
it's
trust
not very
you.
important.
Right. I think they finished by saying, I always knew I could trust you, Qiufeng. And it's hard to tell whether that is an expression of genuine gratitude or a threat not to mess up.
Great. Lovely.
But unless there is anything else, we might close the scene there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Fabulous? Let's cut over to Zhou Jiang. Is there anything you might want to do here as we come up on the top of the hour?
Well, two things occur to me. One is the Jiang and Cloud Crow reunion, which makes sense. But the other one is something like a flashback with Qiufeng, because we've established that Qiufeng is crushing on Jiang, but we don't know anything about why or how, or something that helps us flesh out that relationship a little bit more. I don't know, Maria, if you're up for that. I have no idea what it would be, but so those are the two things kind of on my radar.
The advantage of a flashback scene is that it could get you guys some very much needed bonds.
Oh, really? How does that work?
Well, I mean, if you're doing some kind of comfort or support in the flashback.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yes, comfort and support. I always forget about comfort and support.
Great. Yeah.
Do you have an idea for a frame, Maria?
I am looking at their relationship and I am your confidant, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I know John has been very lonely since Cloud Crow's AWOL or MIA, and his lover's trapped in a mask, and the other ones are all dead or missing. So he's been quite lonely.
Yeah.
We might have
Maybe.
also been hired because we both get hired to protect people. You're a mercenary,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Of sorts. Yeah.
Of sorts, an assassin, right? Really?
Yes, yes.
Oh, we could do some kind of assassin and bodyguard thing. I don't know. See if
I was like, I like the idea that like it's something to do with you being like missing all of the people in your life, and maybe me trying to comfort you or something, so we can get that little bond action in.
yeah. Well, last time I had narrated this new technique little vignette about developing this new cold spring technique. Maybe I'm in the middle of that, and you come to the cold springs, and I am like not doing well because I'm like yeah, when you come to the cold springs for your own reasons,
Yeah.
and you see me in the pool and I'm barely moving. I've turned blue, and there's icicles hanging from my nose, and that's how you come upon me. Is that a frame that we could work with?
That's excellent. And I think maybe I was heading there to like wash the grime of travel off myself. So I was expecting to have like a nice relaxing time in the cold springs. But then I see you and I think I think Qiufeng just stands on the like bank for a little while, like watching you and trying to figure out if this is something you plan to do or not.
Yeah, and there's like it's at dusk, I imagine, and so the temperature is dropping, and there's a mist over the water, and I don't think anybody else is around, and there's some kind of mourning dove in the background, very plaintive.
I think after some time, Qiufeng just goes, "You're doing it all wrong if you want to cultivate better. You're not supposed to be in there unmoving, you know?"
And Zhang's eyes just flutter just a little bit, and there's lots of ice on his eyelashes. And he opens his eyes and he looks sideways at you and says, "Really? I'm doing it wrong?
Well,
What should I be doing?"
I can show you if you want, or I can help you. Which would you prefer?
I'm having trouble moving at the moment, so maybe I could use some help.
I think like Qiufeng just has to like take off the outer robe or whatever and then jumps in and is like, "Well, I don't understand what your purpose is doing this at this particular time of the day when the temperature is dropping. All alone, also."
My teacher told me that I had to absorb a lot of yin qi to master this technique. And so I thought this would be a good idea. The cold pools are full of it, and dusk is a good time for yin energy. Did I get it wrong? I still can't move very much. Could you?
There has to
His teeth start chattering a little bit.
I think like Wu Qiufeng is just gonna like reach. I think I'm imagining, if it's okay, like Wu Qiufeng coming up behind and like doing that thing in like movies where they basically move other people's limbs for them.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and he's like, there has to be a balance in this sort of thing. Too much of one thing is never a good path to take.
And how are you moving my limbs?
Oh, I don't know, in some sort of.
I imagine you lifting my arms somewhat.
Yes.
And it's actually quite intimate because you're actually right behind me, right?
And it's like a body warmth.
It's a body warmth thing. And then I can imagine John kind of leans back into the warmth, like instinctively, because he's so cold.
You are shivering. This is no good. And I think like Qiufeng is just gonna try to basically like carry/drag Zhang to the shore.
Yeah, and as we're moving, Zhang's motions start becoming a little bit more fluid again, less frozen up. And then I think he trips as we're coming out of the water and falls onto the grass right at the edge of the pool.
I have a question. Is this before I came back, or is my grandmother here yelling at me the entire time?
Oh, that's up to you, right?
If I had it my way, I would say that she would be yelling at you the whole time, but I'll leave it to you, Qiufeng.
Grand. I think, yes, their faces are tangled next to each other. Yeah, I think Qiufeng has to like disentangle himself from catching or trying to catch Zhang and like goes over to where the outer robe is like drying on the ground, and like will bring it over and just like drop it on top of Zhou Jiang.
Cover yourself up.
Yeah.
And Zhang looks up, and I think even through all the blue and the ice, there's a little bit of blushing going on in his cheeks as he looks up at you, and he says, I still don't know your name. We could end there if you wanted to.
I would like Qiufeng to at least make a comfort and support roll.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I get carried
It's
away
fine.
with the narrative. Forget that there's rolls.
I almost feel like, yeah, I don't think Qiufeng will respond there, and I think we'll just say something about like try not to lose yourself down an imbalanced path or something, and I will roll comfort and support. Is this with an element? Okay, also.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm thinking fire,
I'm
but
also thinking fire. Yeah. All right, that's an 8. What do we get out of that?
What do we get?
So Zhang, you may choose to give a bond to Qiufeng, or if you have an element marked, you may clear it. I don't know that you have any though.
I don't think I have an element marked, and I'd love to give a bond to Qiufeng.
Yay! Thank you.
Okay. Let's take our first break here. Come back at around 10, 12 after, and we'll start off with Yelang at that time.
That's good.
Okay, we are back, and we're gonna get started with Yelang. Is there a scene you would like to call?
Yes.
Okay.
My master.
The unseen hand.
Yes.
All right. Would you like to set the scene?
You see me enter his grand hall, and walk up towards his throne and kneel down in the place before it. And say, I have a service I can offer you, master.
And is the unseen hand sitting atop this throne, billowing robes, obscuring their face, nothing but one hand visible on the armrest?
Yeah, just sitting in his.
I would like
throat.
to, if I may contribute a creepy detail here, I would like there to be lining the walls of this chamber a number of tapestries with creepy figures on them that will all laugh in synchrony whenever something especially dramatic happens.
Okay.
So, the unseen hand.
So perhaps there are whispering voices all the time.
Right. I think there's about to be a little bit of a hush, like whisper whenever you
and if
explain.
you look at the tapestries, which we pan past at one point, you can see sort of fleeting forms moving through it that are making these whispers.
Awesome. So I think,
of course we have giant, tripod braziers with fires, every 5 feet down the center aisle. It's all done in marble. His giant obsidian throne.
They light and ignite on their own as you walk past them and all of that. So I think there are the tapping of long black fingernails on the armrest as the unseen hand says, "Very well, present." what it is you have to offer.
I've heard that you are seeking the elixir of immortality. I was there when it was taken.
You know of its location, Night Wolf?
I know who must have it.
What is
Cloud
their
Crow,
name?
formerly of the Heaven and Earth Temple, holds it. They have not been seen for some time. But I do not believe that they would leave their friend Zhou Jiang alone for as long as this, perhaps. So I feel certain that they will appear if I keep an eye on Zhou Jiang long enough.
Then you must affix yourself to Cloud Crow. Let your eyes never waver.
Yes, master.
And besides, it is my understanding that Zhou Jiang is on fine terms with Miao Renxing. If they present themselves to Cloud Crow, then that might be one more angle through which you could obtain access to the Lord of Blackwood Palace. We may be able to use Zhou Jiang yet.
Perhaps so, my lord, but I don't know. In the past, I've warned Zhou Jiang about Miao Renxing. It might be difficult to get them to trust each other again.
Out of character, who would it be hard to get to trust each other again?
Jiang and Miao Renxing.
Mm. The unseen hand tells you there is no need for them to trust one another. Only for Zhou Jiang to perhaps unwittingly aid us in obtaining access to Miao Renxing. He is a spy, a member of the Waxing Crescent. He is well versed in the arts of subterfuge and larceny. If anyone can get us closer to the Lord of Blackwood Palace, it is him. So affix yourself to him as well, but do not allow your empathy to cloud your judgment, Nightwolf.
I feel I should roll inner conflict here.
That hits on your entanglement pretty head on, I think.
Pretty much, yeah.
So go ahead and
Because
mark
I'm
XP.
willing to use Jiang up to a point. But let's see. I think roll with water. Oh, a 7.
Just barely got it. So you may either mark an element to hold steady or dramatically leave the scene.
Let's mark water. Oh, and apparently I marked wood last time too. So I just say, Yes, master. And you see the struggle on my face, but I keep it bottled up enough to get out of there without incident.
I think that he will say as you turn, and one last thing, Night Wolf. I hope that you are taking appropriate steps to keep Qiufeng on their proper path. They've become unwieldy since returning to us.
Unwieldy how?
Can you keep a secret between us, Night Wolf?
Of course, master.
Qiufeng seems to think they know better than me. They are rebellious, unrestrained at times. It is important that they remain on the proper path and follow the instructions that we have laid out. Do not let their seniority blind you. They are by no means a superior combatant or member of the Unseen Hand. You may yet surpass them. Impress me.
Thank you, master. I will do my best, and I will keep your words in mind when dealing with Qiufeng.
As he said to, or they rather, as the Unseen Hand said to Qiufeng before, so the Unseen Hand will say to you, I knew I could trust you, Yelang. And again, it is unclear whether this is a threat or gratitude.
Both.
So, is that a good place to close the scene?
Yes.
Okay. I want to go to Cloud Crow because we left you hanging with a large number of supernatural entities about to swarm you in a dark cave. So what do you do when the decomposing ghost reaches out to you from the reflecting pool and begins gurgling doomsday prophecies at you?
Well, I think I reach for my flute as a measure of self-protection, and I stay as calm as possible. And I start weaving a song of protection around myself. And as I do so, the hand recedes into the water, and all the other energy kind of fades into the background, and Chang'e shows up and says, I saw that. We need to leave, and we need to hurry.
Could I have you roll your exorcist move to see just how well the protective barrier works?
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna roll with, where am I? I think I'm gonna roll with metal. So that will give me 2. Okay, pray for me. Here I go. 7.
Good thing we went with a +2 stat. So you will successfully drive them away, but there is a complication. You can either mark an element leave someone out, something will break, someone will become vulnerable, or the effect will be fleeting.
I might say the effect is fleeting, and Chang and I fly out so that we do not have to reap the results of the fleeting effect.
I think that's fair. You guys will beat a hasty retreat as the various ghosts will sort of shriek back into the shadows, giving you just enough space to leave with your heads intact.
Mhm.
Where do you go now that you have learned this important piece of information regarding the realms?
Well, my inclination is not to trust the information. I think that information was designed, I'm guessing that information was designed to just sort of head us off the path. You know, basically, you can't do anything, you know, stop trying. And so, yeah, I think that Changa and I need to convene around what to do, but I feel like I want to head back into wherever Zhang is. Where is Zhang right now?
I'm going to say that Jiang is looking for you. He's left Blackwood Palace, and so he spent the night there, and yeah, he's in search of you, and I'm not sure exactly where he would be. That you might find him if you want to find him, or that you want to allow him to find you.
So I might ask one of the crows that's with me if they would go and find you and let me know where you are, or let you know where we are, and help us get together, essentially.
Yeah, so I can imagine Zhang is walking in a forest, and a crow alights on a branch and starts squawking, and he looks up, and he knows what that means, and he has a moment of recognition, and the crow starts flying, and he follows at a little jog. Yeah, he's on foot by himself, and it's summertime, right? Yeah, summertime. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the forest is green and lush, and it's warm, and Zhang is sweating to keep up with that crow.
And so I think that Changa has told me that she believes that my relationship with you, Zhang, is very important. And it's important to the mission of actually recovering the Earth's natural power and life. And so that gives a certain urgency, like, okay, this is the right next step, is to find you, and perhaps to try to bring you into our mission.
Shall we do the scene, or shall we wait?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
All right. So where do I find you? Because I'm coming running.
You're coming running, and we are also running, but you know, we're kind of
I'm running too.
yeah. The crows are doing their job, and we are running together. We practically bump into each other as I nearly dive bomb you from the trees. And I'm gonna say we tangle up into each other a little bit accidentally, and since you're so good at that, and I feel a sense of relief and delight to finally see you again after all this time. We've been separated for months. Zhang, oh, I'm so glad to see you finally. I have so much to tell you. How are you? How are you doing? Are you all right?
My friend, It's been so long. You flew off when we were in hell. I didn't know where you'd gone. I had no word of you. Where have you been?
I know I've been hiding. Oh, I have so much to tell you. I've been hiding in order to protect this elixir situation. What on earth?
Yeah, many people want that elixir.
I know. Listen, I have an outlandish story to tell you. And I know you might not believe me, but I met Chang'e.
The goddess.
I met Chang'e. In fact, that's her in the tree right here with us.
The, the bird?
Yes, yes.
The
She's
bird is the
come-
goddess of the moon?
Yes, listen, she has come back to try to repair the damage that she did by stealing the elixir for herself. She's on a journey of remorse and repair. And there's more. She's my mother.
She? That one there?
Yes, yes,
I suppose it makes sense that she's a crow.
yes, I know it sounds very strange, but she knows everything. She knows everything from my childhood. She came here to plant the seed of me in my mother's womb. And so she is asking me for her help now.
So she didn't give birth to you. That's hard to
No.
imagine how that
You might have some skills at transmutation.
Jiang's brow is furrowing as he's trying to imagine the scenarios. Oh, okay. Okay.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What's important is that the boundaries between the realms, as you know, have been disintegrating. We've been facing this catastrophe for years now, and it's just getting worse. And the key is actually this elixir that everyone wants. It is the act of possessing it that removes the life force from the earth. And in order to restore the life to the earth and all of the boundaries between the realms and to bring the gods back, we need to prevent the elixir from being possessed by anyone.
Those are grand concerns, Cloud Crow.
I know. I need to not be so alone in this. I need you. What can I do to help? How can I help you in a way that will help you help me? How can we help each other? Can we comfort and support each other?
I think Jiang at this moment has his much more personal agenda, which is the release of Song Tian. But he knows that Cloud Crow is not a fan of Song Tian. So he goes to pull the mask out of his, maybe he has like a satchel on his side. I don't know if I should roll inner conflict here. I don't know exactly.
I'll leave it to you. I think
Yeah.
if you think this rises to the level of inner conflict, I think it's a justifiable role. I
Yeah.
could also see either instead of or in addition to inner conflict, I could see a hearts and minds role
Hearts and
coming into
minds.
play.
That might make sense. I mean, I'm just afraid. I mean, I don't think I feel conflicted. I'm just afraid about how Cloud Crow is going to respond. So maybe I've written those entanglements a little wrong, but that's okay. I got plenty of XP, so I'm not wanting in that regard. So I think Jiang says those are grand concerns, Cloud Crow, and then he goes quiet for a moment, and he kind of blows the little wispy hair that's falling in his face up off of his brow. And then he turns and, but I have something much more personal that I need your help with first. And then he pulls out the mask and shows it to Cloud Crow.
Ah.
And there's no words necessary because Cloud Crow knows what the mask represents. I know, Cloud Crow, that you and Song Tian have a difficult history behind you. But I ask you as an old friend to help me release him from this prison. Miao Rensheng has told me that you are the one who can do this. I have searched far and wide and tried everything I know of to release him. Will you help me? And I don't know if at that point, if you're susceptible to my words, I could do a hearts and minds.
I would say I'm susceptible to your words.
All right, let's see what happens.
Which element will you be rolling with?
Let's see what makes sense. Patience, growth, awareness, wisdom, calculate. It's not calculated. Maybe Jiang has been thinking about this moment for a while, and he's trying to do it with as much care and focus and presence as possible. And he's also very cautious and scared that how Cloud Crow will respond. So I think it's going to be Earth.
Okay.
Oh, that's a 10 then.
Hey,
So on a 10, what did I do? Comfort and support?
Hearts and minds, I think.
Hearts and minds. On a 10 with a PC, they may mark XP if they do as you ask. If they don't, they mark an element. You may spend any bond to avoid this. Okay. So it's no difference between, 7 and 9, I mark an element if they decline. Okay.
okay.
So you get XP if you say yes. But you can say no.
I'm going to say that
Maybe you feel conflicted.
I turn my attention to Chang'e in the tree. And we speak to each other in a language that you can't understand, John. Crow language. And I ask her, how does this fit in the mission? I want to help my friend. I don't trust who's in the mask. And she is actually very certain that I should help you. She has no hesitation.
She's on my side, yeah.
It surprises me, and I think, well, she just must know something that I don't.
She's a fan of this pairing.
Sure, I would go that far. She is ancient, and she knows something. So, I hear her, and I think I'm going to say yes, and I think I'd like to do it as a comfort and support move. So that I can get some bond.
I think it's justifiable that there's a comfort and support here. I think the actual act of exercising the mask would be a separate move, but I think that if you want, you can roll comfort and support here.
Okay.
And you do get to mark XP for agreeing to do it.
I just did mark XP.
So we're rolling comfort and support here. I'll be interested to see what it looks like if it's a miss, though. I don't know what that would represent. What element do you think you'll roll with?
Well, let's see. I'm gonna say wood. I'm gonna roll with wood. Ten.
Great. So Zhang, you may either clear a marked element, I don't think you have any, or you may give Cloud Crow a bond with you.
Have a bond, Cloud Crow.
Oh,
I am
thank you.
moved by your willingness to help me, and I shed a little tear of gratitude.
John, I see how distressed you are and how distressed you've been. And I just want to say I'm sorry. And I feel that it's clear to me now that I was a fool in going so hard after Songkyan, following the words of my master, when in fact he did not have my best interests or even the best interests of the world at heart. And so I'm sorry. And I would like to support you now in your hour of need.
You are a true friend, Cloud Crow. Thank you for that.
Cloud Crow, you may also clear an element yourself, ask Zhang a question they must answer, or give Zhang a bond with you.
I think that I will give Zhang a bond since I have multiple +2 elements. So I think I'll give Zhang a bond.
Okay. Thank you, dear. I will put it on.
Let's close the scene there for the time being.
Okay.
And I want to jump to Qiufeng. You've just had this meeting with the unseen hand. You've gotten some kind of additional information about the elixir. You have this document. Now, I know you were on your way to the Heaven and Earth Temple. Is there anything else you might want to do?
I'm kind of wondering what Ascendant Wu, my grandmother, thinks about what has happened, or what I am possibly going to talk to what my plan of going to the Heaven and Earth Temple was meant to do. So maybe I can just have a chat with her.
Sure. I think Ascendant Wu has a kind of an interpersonal style where everything she says it with this tone of voice as if, well, of course it's right. Of course it's that way. And so I think I'll let you sort of lead things off. What do you say in the beginning of the interaction with Ascendant Wu?
Yeah, I think this is as like maybe I'm continuing down the path, having accepted the piece of paper from the unseen hand, and I'm just like walking through the forest. And I think I just ask her, so you think I'm foolish for seeking the favor of such a master as the unseen hand? Don't you, grandmother?
And out of character, does Ascendant Wu have a connection to the unseen hand? Or I'm trying to remember what their connection to them is, if they have one at all. They might just be your grandmother, though.
Yeah, I think all I had was that she had strong opinions about the unseen hand. Like maybe she has heard of their nefariousness and doesn't want that to be the reputation that the family has.
So she's coming at it from a place of family reputation and maintaining her family's honor. Absolutely. So I think Ascendant Wu says to you, well, of course it's a foolish idea. You don't need me to tell you that. Here you are throwing your lot in with a strange person writing about on a horse in the middle of summer, wearing robes and saying cryptic messages about putting a night wolf into place? What have you gotten yourself into? This is not the grandchild I know.
You know about Yelang, you know. You've been you've been by my side this entire time.
Someone needs to put you in order. Here you are, going about gallivanting around with Nightwolf, falling in love with Zhou Jiang, who is perhaps the worst choice of partner you could select other than the Unseen Hand themselves. Have you no sense of propriety?
No, I have a sense of making a name for our family. The Unseen Hand is powerful. You saw. You wouldn't be here if they hadn't brought me back. And surely raising someone from the dead, someone and their associated grandmother from the dead, is a sign of great power. Don't we want that on our side?
Power, yes, but at what cost? They are using you as a pawn. Woo, this is not going to end well. They always start by tempting you with promises of power and all kinds of great things, riches and fame and fortune and so forth. It's all going to be taken away at the last moment. You know, I once had a romance with a certain man by the name of Gentleman Bao Yin. I know a thing or two about what it is to be offered and promised great things and then stabbed in the back at the very last minute.
Yes, I've heard very many times about this romance with Gentleman Bao Yin. You never stop talking about it. What would you do if you had a second chance at life, a real second chance at life? Would you not try to claim what is rightfully yours at whatever cost?
Woo. I think what is rightfully ours is a peaceful life without the interference of ghosts and devils and all manner of horrible creatures. That's the rightful future you should strive for, not whatever this is. And you can almost feel her gesticulating at you, flapping her hands around frantically.
But that's not the world we live in, is it, grandmother? You're not exactly the sign of a peaceful life. The fact that you're back here seems to indicate that, well, not everything is where it should be.
The fact that I'm here indicates that things aren't what they should be? What does that supposed to mean?
Well,
is there a problem with me being with you?
Well, wouldn't you rather be resting or achieving some other glory in your next life or something?
Not as long as I have to babysit you.
On that note, would you like to take a nap? A long one? I am on my way to the temple.
I am tired after this conversation, yes, but be warned, I am a very light sleeper. So if you do anything else that will get you into trouble, I will have something to say about it.
What sort of trouble could I get? My dearest grandmother, I'm going to speak to the eminently benign heaven and earth temple.
Well, yes, as well you should. Elder Woodheart is a good man. You should have thrown in with his lot, not the Unseen Hand.
Well, life turned out differently, and death. and re-life.
Well, if you ever feel the need to receive wisdom and not simply dismiss it, you talk to me. But until then, I am going to catch a much needed rest.
I think like Qiufeng waits for a second and like looks around. I don't remember if Ascendant Wu is visible to me. Maybe, or
I don't remember either.
well, we could
So-
say that maybe she's not visible, but maybe there's always like some sort of sign, like some sort of wind or something.
Sure.
But maybe there's like, Qiufeng like looks around and like checks to see that she's not there. Yeah.
Now, I was curious, is there any way that you might want to engage the mechanics here, or is there something that you, yeah.
I guess I was sort of thinking, I vaguely remember the mechanics existed halfway through this. I don't know if we need to see the scene, but as this like conversation happened, walking towards the Heaven and Earth Temple, could I possibly try to convince Elder Woodheart or another member of the temple to like see if there's some sort of pendant or potion or something that I could use to like exorcise my grandmother?
I think we can handle that using a couple of different moves. We could use a standard study move. Alternatively, I think that it might actually fit a little bit better to use the Seek Expert move.
Right. Yeah. I will do that then.
Fabulous. So what element do you think you will roll with?
I think I will roll with, well, let's do fire. I feel like this is sort of a reckless thing to be trying to do.
Right.
Oh, well.
Oh dear.
That was a 5.
So that's going to be a miss, which
Great.
means that you get a choice here. They can either provide you with misleading information, or they will be secretly associated with or even responsible for your grandmother.
Oh, there's a conspiracy there. I think misleading information is fun and could be useful in some unknown way.
And so I think there is and again, it's not, we won't narrate it, but there is, I think, a scene with you kind of sitting with Elder Woodheart, and you discuss back and forth the nature of the problem. And Elder Woodheart is quite convinced that this is one more symptom of the breakdown between realms that he is trying to remedy. But when it comes to the expulsion and the barring of supernatural spirits, those especially who follow you about as if tied to you in some way, Miao Ren Xing is the one who will help you with that. And so you're kind of put at this crossroads where Miao Ren Xing can help you to deal with Ascendant Wu, but you're also asked to kill him by your superiors.
Excellent. Wonderful.
I don't know if that raises to the level of inner conflict or not, but that's the information they'll give you. And we know out of character that it's unhelpful. I don't think Miao Ren Xing will be of any use to you.
Cool.
So I think we might close the scene there, but I'm
Mhm.
curious, do you know what you will do in response to that little nugget of information?
I think Qiufeng's gonna have to ponder that. Um, yeah, I don't know immediately what they're going to do.
No worries. Let's cut over then to
Yep.
Yelang. You've met with the unseen hand and received some additional information and orders. What do you want to do?
So I actually don't feel like this is a good spot for me to jump back into the story, because I kind of want to let Zhang and Cloud Crow do a bit more of their thing before it's revealed that I'm spying on them both. So I just wanted to narrate a quick resting scene, actually, and clear an element.
Sure, we can do that and then jump right back to Zhang and Cloud.
So what you see is Yelang walking into his quarters. And you know, it's your standard evil villain headquarters with open flames in the middle of the room, you know. lots of darkness everywhere. And but you see me turn and look, and there's sort of this bubbling pool of black liquid with sort of just a bubbling pool of black liquid, and you see me turn and start removing my armor. And it's revealed that my skin underneath is blackened and cracked, with sort of veins of energy running through it that glow purple. And right now they're very, very strong. They're very bright and sort of getting brighter and darker all along, just pulsing. And you kind of see me wince as the pulses get even stronger. I eventually finish undressing, but you never see my face yet. And I turn and step into the pool where the energy, you can see the energy sort of getting pulled down by this black, oily liquid that I settle myself into and lay back and sort of pulse away for a while. That's the end of the scene.
Awesome. Which element do you think you will unmark?
Good question. Probably the +2.
Sounds good. Well, let's see here. I think it might be a little bit of a longer scene between Jiang and Cloud Crow. So I know we just took a break not long ago, but we're nearing the top of the hour, so we might as well get the short break out of the way here. So let's take 5 at this point, come back at about 2 or 3 past, and jump in with Jiang and Cloud Crow. Cool. Okay, we are back for part 3 of the session. We are starting here with Cloud Crow and Zhou Jiang, who I think is about to maybe be the witness of a very benevolent exorcism. Cloud Crow, how does this look?
Well, I'm going to say that the importance of this exorcism is made all the more dramatic by the arrival of many, many crows. It looks a little bit like the background of my screen looks. The sky just starts to fill with crows. I don't really even understand if they're there to witness or if I'm not entirely sure what's happening, but Chang'e is sending me a lot of support vibes, you know, and so I'm just really feeling that this exorcism is more important than I even understand, and I'm humbled and also a little scared, you know, like that I'm in this role that feels more important than I understand. And so I received Chang'e's support And I actually sit down. I sit down on the ground, my legs under me, put my hands on the earth to steady myself and to remember what I'm doing here. And I say, Zhang, will you please hand me the mask?
So John slowly approaches Cloud Crow and hesitates just a moment in handing the mask. Over because he's been sleeping with the mask. Kept the mask very close to him the entire time. No one else has touched the mask in all these months. But then he goes ahead after that initial hesitation and hands the mask over to Cloud Crow with a very worried look on his face. And he's still a bit perspiring from all the running, and so it's a little bit of a dripping of sweat. Please be gentle with him. He likes that way.
And so while this hesitation and slow transfer of the mask has been happening, some of the crows have descended. They're hanging out down on the ground near me, and they have been assembling summer flowers in front of me. They've made a whole bed of summer flowers in front of me, and I thank them. Thank you, my friends. And I place the mask on the bed of flowers. And I look up at John lovingly. It's gonna be okay, John. It's gonna be okay. Will you sit with me? Sit down with me and help me?
I will.
You can
Just
help.
tell me how I can help you, Cloud Crow. And John sits down cross-legged next to Cloud Crow. Cloud Crow.
Okay, so John, you need to find that place in you that is open and protected at the same time.
Open and protected.
Yes.
Oh,
Touch
I will
here.
try.
Touch here. Put your hands on the earth right now.
So John puts his hands down on the earth.
Breathe with me.
He's feeling a little bit calmer. Some of the furrows in his brow relax just a little bit as he gazes at the mask on the bed of flowers, and he feels kind of a surge in his heart.
And John makes a crow sound unlike any we've heard before. It is magical and a little bit scary, but also strangely calming. It echoes the way the light of the moon echoes.
And Zhang's eyes close as he enters a more meditative state.
And Cloud Crow picks up the flute carefully and confidently and begins to play. And the song that comes from that flute is so gentle, and it starts so softly, and it grows. And as it grows, it weaves its way around all those who are present. Every crow, every tree, Cloud Crow, Zhang, Yelang, who might be spying nearby.
Is Yelang even moved by it from his spying perch?
It weaves itself around, and after it weaves around all of the beings present, it comes to the mask. And the melody, it's almost as if you can see it. The sound just wraps itself around the mask, and the mask starts to rise up off the flowers. And as the mask rises, it starts to shake. The sound is growing, the mask is shaking, and the mask at some point starts to disintegrate. All the little pieces coming off and vanishing. And in their wake is the body of Song Qian. He stumbles, Song Qian stumbles. His eyes are closed and he's opening them and he sees you, John. He sees the flowers.
He's on the
He
bed of
hears the
flowers.
song. He's on the bed of flowers and he hears the song and he sees you. My love.
Could I have Cloud Crow make I think an overcome roll here, just to see.
I'm gonna have to roll this. This isn't gonna come off with no problem.
Well, I just want to see if there may be some complications that arise.
Okay, so I need an element. Oh, definitely metal. Okay, so I'm rolling with 2 again, and overcoming obstacles. Oh, it's a 5. Oh.
So we
Sorry,
have
guys.
some options here.
Bonds.
Cloud Crow has 1 bond. Zhou Jiang, you can also, I think, spend bonds on Cloud Crow's behalf and also maybe do comfort and support kind of roles as well.
Mhm.
So if
Let's
you
make this work.
Let's make this work. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
If I'm involved, I could spend a bond as well.
But why would you? Oh, maybe.
I'm not sure.
You
That's
never
what I
were a
was,
fan of
was
Song
thinking.
Qian. I can. Okay, so. Yeah, I have 2 bonds with Cloud Crow, so I can spend 1.
Okay, and I can spend my bond with you to bring it to a 7. Is that better than a 6? I'm assuming it is.
a 7 is
Yeah.
much better.
Definitely better than 6.
So we spend a couple of bonds, I think. Yes, Zhou Jiang, you spend 1. Cloud Crow, you will spend 1 as well.
Yes.
Okay. I think that brings you back down to 0 bonds if I remember correctly, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
Oh dear. So that gets you to a 7. Now on a 7 to 9, you're successful, but there is a complication and you get a worse outcome or a hard choice. I think that I'll introduce things in just a second, but there's going to be some more people on the horizon here in just a moment. So continue kind of narrating where you left off. You have Song Tian there. I mean, Zhang, first time you have seen him in, I want to, yeah, since fall. I mean, it's probably been 8 or 9 months.
Oh, right, because I haven't seen him since the battle at Heaven and Earth Temple. Yeah.
Right, that was back in
Right.
session
Yeah.
4. Now we're in session 10, so he's been out for half the quarterly at this point.
Yeah. So Jiang, who is sitting there, suddenly sees Song Tian appear upon the bed of flowers and looking confused. And when he speaks to Jiang, Jiang bolts up and comes immediately to kneel in front of Song Tian and embrace him. I mean, I think that's what he does. Wordlessly, I think, and tears are flowing, I think, and maybe a couple of sobs rack him because he's been waiting for this moment for so long, and yeah, I'll stop there because I'm not sure what else is about to come down the pike.
I think that Song Tian is going to look up at you with these sort of great, desperate eyes, you get the sense that he has been through something very rough during his time trapped in the mask. But he nonetheless appears to be comforted by your presence. And he just manages to kind of choke out the words, Jiang, Jiang. And I think he kind of grabs at your robe a little bit as he tries to steady himself, and he begins to tremble. Jiang, he cries.
I'm here for you, Song Tian. I'm here. It's over. You're out. You're out of the mask. You're out from under the influence of your father. You're here with me. Take a breath. Feel the earth. Feel the power of the forest and the love around you. Even these crows, look at them.
Yeah.
They're all here for you.
He looks around, kind of like, I imagine his hair is a bit of a mess, and he has kind of the one sexy strand of black hair over one eye. And he looks about in just almost a state of sensory overload. He's not used to experiencing the human realm in this way, not in a long time. Jiang, he says, Cloudcrow, my father, he must know that you have released me. He's so closely connected to the mask. There's no way that he isn't coming for us. We have to move. We have to move quickly.
And so Jiang suddenly is alert and turns to Cloud Crow. We need to get out of here.
And it's at this time, I think, that you hear the galloping of several horses as you find yourself suddenly engaged on almost all sides by riders of none other than Blackwood Palace. They brandish spears and sidearms, and they are led by an elite member of the guard, one who you've probably interacted with some in the past. He was at one time maybe good friends with Dongshan. He addresses you all and says, Jiang, Cloudcrow. He kind of looks at Song Tian and doesn't recognize him. I apologize for intruding at such a moment. You have been requested to Blackwood Palace. Master Miao Rensheng requests to have a look at the elixir that has been obtained from the depths of hell. Cloudcrow, you're the one with the elixir, as I understand.
I do not have the elixir. I'm not carrying that thing with me. Are you kidding?
Where is it?
That I cannot say.
So is that what you're saying to the guards? Or was that like an out of character thing?
It was a little bit of both. Sorry.
Okay.
I do not have the elixir. That's what I'm saying to this dude.
He looks at you with this expression of complete confusion. What? Well, who has it? Where? What? It's been left unguarded?
No. It's guarded. Chang'e has the elixir.
Get it from the gods.
The moon goddess?
Yeah, the one who stole it initially.
Well, it is imperative that we seek audience with this moon goddess. It is important that Miao Rensheng be able to speak with them. Can you please direct us to them?
I will send a messenger.
Are you an emissary of this moon goddess?
She has spoken with me.
Cloud Crow, I must ask you to come with us. It is important that you say all of this to Miao Renxing personally. I cannot deliver this message back to him empty-handed.
Does this card have to roll hearts and minds?
Nope, it's up to you.
Yeah.
God, I don't want to go. That's me speaking, Max.
Yes, and.
I am sorry. I have other business right now. I cannot come with you to Blackwood Palace.
Cloud Crow, with the utmost respect, he says, avoiding eye contact with you. I have been ordered by Miao Renxing himself to either return with you or the elixir, but I cannot return empty-handed. You must come with me, or else I must take you with me.
Does he pull his sword or anything?
I think he has a spear and he kind of thumps it into the ground to really punctuate his statement, but he doesn't draw a weapon yet. He just sort of motions that he's got a pole arm here and he doesn't want to use it. He's avoiding eye contact. He feels very embarrassed to even bring this to this point, but he has his orders and he has his duty to uphold.
I think at this point, the crows are starting to feel very defensive of Cloud Crow. And so there's a lot of commotion in the air, a lot of commotion on the ground. It's very noisy. Crows. Totally
Okay.
noisy. And
That's the point at which I would appear. As soon as there's tension enough.
all right, you want to appear? What are you going to do?
Yes. I mean, literally leap in between you two and, come out of nowhere, leap in between you two and say, leave these to me and be on your way.
Who are you saying that to?
Back to you and John.
You're saying to me and Zhang to leave these guards from Blackwood Palace alone?
Leave them to me and you
Okay.
be on your way.
I see. Well, great, because that's exactly what I want, is to be on my way.
Zhang immediately pulls Song Tian to his feet and prepares to flee.
And I'll look directly at Zhang and say, I told you Miao Renxing couldn't be trusted.
Zhang makes a quick nod, turns, and tries to actually wait a second. He turns to Song Tian and says, "Can you run, my love? Run with me."
I can, but not on two legs.
Use four. We'll flee into the forest. And so, so I imagine Song Tian transforming into his fox form, and Zhang tears into the forest using, whatever the speed of his cultivation, his cultivated lightness or whatever, moving quickly into the forest.
Sure. I think they will let you two go because they're not interested in you so much as Cloud Crow. So I think that as you dart off, a few guards will maybe kind of halfway draw their swords and then see that you're already so far off that there's no point, and they'll place them back into the scabbard. And now all eyes are on Yelang. And I think this elite guard will, at your appearance, he will level the spear at you. You, who identify yourself.
You don't need to know my name.
Stand aside. Our business is with Cloud Crow.
I
You
will
interfere
not.
with... Then you interfere with the very orders of Lord of these lands. Miao Renxing himself. Stand aside or you will be moved.
I do not answer to Miao Renxing. Go back and tell him that Cloud Crow is busy.
I see you have chosen your fate, and I think that people will converge on you. I see that in the chat, this is a fair point. I mean, Wu Qiufeng, if you want, I think you can introduce yourself into the scene here. But if not, I think we will jump over to you in a moment.
Yeah, I think Qiufeng was on their way and like heard the commotion and everything, but I think like maybe they will see Cloud Crow and Zhou Jiang like leaving and will possibly follow them instead of heading into the fight. But we don't have to see that right away.
I will say, it just occurred to me, it's an interesting, again, kind of crossroads that you would be put at, because on the one hand, you were informed that Miao Renxing can
True.
help you to deal with Ascendant Wu,
True.
and you're supposed to kill Miao Renxing, and here is Yelang about to do battle with Miao Renxing's forces. You'll probably catch wind of all of that if you want to do anything with that information.
Can I roll inner conflict here to determine if I chase Zhou Jiang and Cloud Crow, or if I deal with like the Miao Renxing situation?
Absolutely. What element would you like to roll with? And
side elements.
yeah, do feel free as well to mark XP for rolling.
Great. I will wait. I will roll with. We'll do fire again. Actually, no, we'll do metal. And that's a 7.
All right, you can mark an element to hold steady or flee the scene. Although you're not really in the scene, I suppose, but maybe some analog of that, I suppose.
Yeah, I think like maybe it's like coming upon the scene of the commotion. So I think like the scene I'd be fleeing in quotation marks would be the fight with Miao Renxing. And I think I will mark an element to hold steady. I have a mission to pursue. So let's mark metal. Yeah.
So you're going to be taking off after your unrequited love in the form of Jiang.
I think I actually meant that I was going to be sticking around to fight and letting Jiang go off.
Oh, so the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay.
If that works for everyone.
Yeah, works for me.
Cool.
So I think we just left Yelang with a litany of elite Blackwood Palace guard about to converge. He's surrounded. You have the rider with the spear. Cloud Crow, are you taking off, or are you standing in solidarity with this mysterious Yelang?
Chang really wants to follow Zhou Jiang and Sangqian. And so no, I don't think I'm staying to fight. Sorry, Yelang.
So in that case, I would like to see if Cloud Crow, you might roll overcome to see if you're able to make it out cleanly, or if you're going to have to maybe deal with some guards on the way out.
Okay. I'm gonna roll with metal. 9.
Okay. So you would break away, but there would be at least a few guards who stand between you and Jiang and Songtian, and you would have to do battle with them unless you want to bump that up to a 10 plus.
No, I'll do battle with them.
So you will face off against some Blackwood Palace guards. We'll resolve that in a moment. Wu Qiufeng, how do you introduce yourself into the rapidly emerging chaos?
Yeah, I was actually thinking I was gonna hang back to see, so like let Yelang take the first attack and then go from there. Kind of like, let's see what this person, like, let them do some work first before I sweep in to do more better work. Not really, that's just Qiufeng thinking.
So in that case, Yelang, how do you want to engage these folks? I basically have it split up into 2 different groups you can fight with. One is the underlings, kind of all the footmen that are swarming you. That would be a deal with guards move. And then you also have the elite guard, I think, who would be the man who was leveling the spear at you. That would be more of a duel.
Okay.
So how do you want to proceed here?
Well, first I want to use my move to reveal my baleful visage. So as I turn away from Cloud Crow and crew, say, let me handle this, then I go to remove my mask.
So
let's roll to see what happens.
Yes, Emperor of the Underworld, such a good name for that move. What will you be rolling with?
Maybe if I scroll up to the stats. Oh, what the heck? Let's roll with fire.
All right, rolling with the style element.
An 8.
So any gathering of people below your scale will flee. That will do away with the guards, aside from the elite. I think he might be at your scale, but I think all of the underlings would cut and run upon seeing this visage of yours. So which of those options do you want to choose?
Let's just pick no one is injured. I don't really care where they go.
Sure.
Or no. Let's say their memories of this will be incomplete. Because as it turns out, even though my face is blackened and cracked and filled with pulsing bits of purple energy, and my eyes are nothing but blank bits of purple energy with tendrils of energy leaking out the edges. It's still recognizably Wudong Shan under all of that. But they're so terrified that they won't recognize me.
Does the elite guard recognize you, the one man who isn't fleeing?
I would think he would. I was probably his boss. So
yeah. Cloud Crow, let's go ahead and have you dispatch some people before we cut back to Yelang. So you're going to be dealing with troops using your style element. So we will roll at a +2.
Hmm. Oh, a 6. God.
Let me see here. You do have one bond left.
I do?
I think, well, oh, no, I think you didn't
Oh,
mark it.
okay.
We're down to 0.
Okay.
So we have some people who might intervene. Jiang, I think you might notice that Cloud Crow is on the verge of being overwhelmed, but that would require you to turn and draw swords against Miao Renxing's men.
Ooh, ouch. That sounds interconflicty.
Yeah.
I don't know how mechanically it works. So should I do that first, or which part do I do first?
Let's get the inner conflict roll first.
Okay.
And so you'll mark XP for that.
All right. Marking XP. And there we go. Okay, that's done. I choose an element that's not my style element for the inner conflict. This is all happening really fast. I think I have to use fire. Ah!
A -1.
Not so good. Let's see. Where's that roller?
I posted it in the chat a little bit earlier at the
No,
very start.
I have it open. I just can't have too many windows open.
Oh, yeah, I relate to that. Yeah.
So it's going to be a -1. Oh, I can't use any of my +1 forwards on this, right? Even though it has to do with Cloud Crow.
That's a great question. Let me see what we have here. The +1 forward is typically from Heroes Shed No Tears. That's plus forward against them, I think.
Let's see.
Unless it was a +1 forward derived from a different source.
Sometimes it comes from Eerie Moon and Evil Star. I can't tell which. That's dealing with it. Let's see. Against them. Yes, it's a +1 forward against them. Okay.
I will also say, though, that
Yeah.
you do have, now that you have Song Tian out of that mask, your curse clock is refreshed. So if you need to pull some +1s out of that, you've got 4 open ticks.
And that's post-roll or pre-roll?
That can be post-roll.
Okay. Well, let's see what happens then. Oops, I spelled this wrong. Let's see, because it has to be fire, I think, because this is quick and dirty. All right, let's see what happens. Woo! Ouch.
Yeah.
So
you can hit the curse clock twice, I think. I don't think there's anything in the move that says you can't.
Can you use comfort and support on an inner conflict roll? Like, can I use one of my bonds to help out?
I believe we have run into that question before, and I don't think there's anything that says you can't. So Qiufeng, if you want to jump in here, I think you could.
I don't know if it like would help Zhou Jiang to know that like maybe the appearance of Qiufeng would be like Zhou Jiang doesn't have to stick around, or like a sort of reassuring like there's a backup plan if you decide to stay with the person you love who isn't me. Did not realize.
I'm not sure you're helping.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait. Yeah. Okay. Well, one thing at a time. What if I fail the roll? That means bad things happen to me.
Yeah, things get much worse on a failed inner conflict. The MC is encouraged to take very hard moves on that.
Super hard moves. Okay. Ouch. I do have one bond on Cloud Crow. I could use that because Cloud Crow's the one in trouble, right?
Yep, that would get you to a 6.
And then I could use a click on my new curse clock. So yeah, that will get me to a 7.
All right. People are going to need to get more bonds here after this scene. But that would get you to a 7 for your inner conflict. Do you want
That
to?
means I mark an element or I flee the scene, right?
Right. Now, you were trying to flee the scene to begin with, so I assume you would mark an element here.
Flee the scene to begin with. So I would mark an element. Why don't I mark, what did I use?
You rolled with fire.
Oh, well, there. Okay, I'll mark
So we
fire.
can mark that one. It's a terrible attribute anyway.
And then there's, I'm trying to comfort, support Cloud Crow in their in the role that they just made, right?
Cloud Crow rolled a 6, and I think you can do a comfort and support. And yeah, I mean, you would narrate that how you choose. That could
Okay.
involve, I suppose, I don't know if that offering emotional support would really do much here, but I mean, maybe you could make a distraction or try to engage him directly. I mean, it's up to you.
Let me roll first to see what the outcome is, and then I'll narrate it. I will roll that one flexibility with my style element with water. So let's see what happens to that. Okay, so that's an 11.
So that's very good, actually. In that case, you may basically create a bond with them that you immediately spend.
Okay.
And because you rolled a 10 plus, you may also clear an element yourself, ask Cloud Crow a question they must answer, or give Cloud Crow a bond with you.
I'll give Cloud Crow a bond with me. Nice.
And how do you support Cloud Crow in just by the skin of their teeth dealing with these troops?
I think it's you see Jiang hesitate a moment as Song Tian continues running into the forest. Jiang hesitates a moment, looks over his shoulder at the situation that Cloud Crow is in, and from a distance, he uses a silver tether to get the ankles of the its troops, right? It's regular guards, right? And trip them all up and sweep them off their feet for a moment. To give Cloud Crow a little bit of an advantage.
Okay, Cloud Crow, that gets you to a 7 on deal with troops. Describe how you either defeat or evade or otherwise deal with them.
Well, I think that I leap into the air and flap my wings, and it creates such a wind that everyone is just like, pushed back. And in that space, I jump up into some trees and proceed on my way, and am able to escape. And Chang follows me.
And as you do escape, you're going to hear the terrified screams of many guards. And you're taking off, but you can just see that they are scattering in horror from something. And we will cut back to Yelang here. You've revealed your baleful visage to the elite guard who used to work for you. And he had his spear pointed toward you. But his voice catches suddenly. He's petrified. I mean, he is off his game now. His head has been completely thrown for a loop here. he is steadying himself, sort of, but it's your ball's in your court now, Yelang. How do you want to deal with him?
I will just say, I have a few new tricks I could show you, and I know all of yours. So why don't we end this peacefully, and you go scampering back to Miao Renxing.
Now, if you allow him to leave, he will know who you are. Is that acceptable to you?
Oh, gosh, that's a tough one.
You could enter conflict over whether to let him live.
It sort of, but I don't know if it's inner conflict character or player. I kind of don't want to kill him with no reason other than being a semi-villain. So yeah, let's rewind. I will still give him the speech about me knowing all his tricks, but then I'll tell him, but I can't let you leave now. And do my best to kill him straight up.
All right. So this is a duel, I think. Oh my gosh, it's tricky. I initially had him set at your scale. Even though it's not a mechanically sanctioned part of the move, I feel like maybe that he's so off his game that you might treat him as being at a scale lower than you, because on a miss he still would escape and would return at a higher scale. So I think that maybe this time he's thrown off his game and he can't defeat you, but he can run. And if he does, he would get back and would inform Miao Renxing. So we'll treat it as a situation where you are higher scale than him this time. But on a 6-, things still go badly for you.
Oh, a 10.
Well, you at least get to mark XP if you show mercy or let them escape.
Oh, but I can't now.
So describe how that goes.
Below. Yeah, I think I just advance menacingly on him, and he is so rattled that eventually he, starts making strikes at me, and I know all his moves, so I just easily deflect them with my sword, just constantly advancing on him, and then at one point, I stop and sort of drop my guard just to tempt him into attacking more fiercely. And at that, I just quickly move in with the devastating finishing blow. Slice across him as I move across, and he falls.
He topples with a crunch off of his horse, which takes off into the woods. And
Not
this
all evil.
Qiufeng, any last thing you want to do before we close the session?
Yeah, I can't. I think maybe I witnessed. Is it okay if I saw?
Oh
What
yeah,
Yelang did?
totally. I expect you to be
Yeah.
involved in this. So,
I think Qiufeng drops down from the tree they were planning on jumping from if things went badly, and I think they might be like slow clapping as they approach. And they say something like, "Well, what was the point of that? You scared them and then you killed them?" What?
yes. Well, we couldn't have them, referring to the other folks, being hauled off to Miao Renqing.
Well, of course not, but I would think our mysterious master would hope that you let me think of words. I would think that our mysterious master would hope that you would give all of the guards a little bit to think about, or more to think about than just pure fear.
Apparently only one of them had the guts to stand and fight and not run like cowards.
I'm surprised you didn't chase the others down.
They're not worth my time.
So you'll let them spread the word of who you are?
They won't recognize me.
I think Qiufeng's gonna like, do you have the mask back on? Or
At this point, yes. I've been,
yeah.
as we've been chatting, I put the mask back on.
Mm-hmm. I think Qiufeng just like squints at you and goes, "You make a recognizable figure, whether you have that mask on or not. They don't know what they're talking about."
Their minds were weak. And easily cowed. Like I said, they won't remember me. Because it's a sort of side effect of my evil face.
I think, yeah, Qiufeng's just gonna cross their arms and like stick their nose up in the air and go, well, this can't have helped you fulfill your mission. I'll show you that there's a better way.
Oh, please do.
I think like Qiufeng might just take off in the direction of Blackwood Palace at that.
Which sounds fine to me, and that may be a good point to stop.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fantastic. I will go ahead and stop the recording here.